Every day, our lives are enriched by our good intentions. Yet, we don't always take the actions in our best interests. So, how do we bridge this gap? Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. We are from Griffith University, and this is Lorenzo. Lorenzo? Lorenzo is your average consumer. He's been thinking about looking for better deals on his credit card, energy bills, and mortgage. His intentions are always aligned with his best interests. However, he's a System 1 thinker. Lorenzo is not active, switched, nor aware. The consumer data right can be a powerful tool for Lorenzo to improve his utility. However, we are presented with two issues which prevent Lorenzo from optimizing these tools. First, biases and procrastination mean intention does not equal action. And second, there is a lack of trust between consumers and third-party providers.
The consumer is not asking to understand the data. Rather, he is asking for the government to give consumers control over their data to better shape outcomes. By implementing an intermediary in the process, we reduce information asymmetries and allow the market to self-regulate. The solution is framed in 5 stages. First, it's tax time. During this period, Lorenzo is more receptive and his focus is on his personal finances, investment, and also expenditures. Lorenzo will encounter an additional step upon completion of his tax returns this year. At this time, coaching is given to the consumer of the new system, either face-to-face through their accountant or through a video on the online infrastructure of MyGov. This solution encompasses both timeliness and the importance of the messenger. First, the completion of tax returns occurs exactly at the time when the Open Banking Act is enacted in July 2019. And second, the messenger. A coach on the MyGov website or an accountant both command trust and also authority. Lorenzo's TFN will be used to connect his financial products and current subscriptions. We have chosen the TFN as our unique consumer identifier, since our status quo bias reveals our hesitancy to disclose banking information. Lorenzo could have contacted the third party as an alternative means to facilitate the provision of data. However, he does not feel comfortable sharing these details. Thus, our automatic inclusion system is a great way to counteract these challenges and cut through the guesswork that individuals do in providing their data.
Now, anything Lorenzo owns or subscribes to will be presented to him through a new feature, what we call the switch. The switch symbolizes our intention to increase utility. The switch is salient, being both novel and relevant. The design of the switch itself incorporates important visual cues. A switch visually represents a quick and easy action for immediate effect. The design is also priming through its color coding, as demonstrated by traffic lights. Red is a call for attention and pause. Green is an invitation to continue. As we can safely assume that higher utility is preferred by each consumer, the switch is green by default. You might be thinking, how does Lorenzo manage all his switches? Well, Lorenzo has the option to download the switch application, enabling review of his choices in the palm of his hand, or he can just easily click on the switch icon where he will be redirected to the MyGov website. Let us explain further. Our application works like Uber. The consumers are the riders, and the third-party companies are the drivers. The consumers are showing intent to ride by having the switch flicked on, and the drivers are signing up through the intermediary to find riders. Since the app is controlled by an intermediary, they act as a bridge to facilitate the reduction of Lorenzo's intention-action gap. So how will service providers engage consumers?
Well, stage 3. Since the green switch implies Lorenzo's intention to find better deals, contact will be initiated by those service providers, and Lorenzo will receive a push notification. These notifications will be similar to ones seen on popular apps, and the consumer is familiar with, expressing the interest of a provider to review Lorenzo's financial information. Lorenzo can elect which institution and representative he is interested in receiving an offer from with a simple tap. As we are social animals, we have also added a social dimension to the desired behavior. We look to others for guidance when making decisions, especially when we are unsure of what to do. A peer rating system is integral to our platform. It allows the market to self-regulate itself, creating a positive feedback loop and ensuring we all comply to contribute to greater social interest. The solution makes it easier for consumers to make the right decision by reframing their choices. Bear in mind that the choice architecture does not change. Rather, it is the framing of the choice. Whilst before procrastination was an option, now the option is who is going to be reviewing my financial information. Today, empowered consumers can now take control of their data. And stage 4. The app will then aggregate a range of offers. These will be listed by color coding. A green, orange, and red scale orders the suitability of packages available. Each option is better suited for Lorenzo based on his past spending behavior, and he is free to select any of these to retrieve further information from the provider. The design also overcomes any skepticism associated with ranking deals, as the consumer is still in control of what product to choose. And finally, stage 5. We have also factored in a number of contingencies into our analysis. Say Lorenzo has elected to switch all his options to red, he will then receive a push notification after a significant time of inactivity. These notifications are informed by loss aversion, social norms, and the fear of missing out.
In summary, our solution leverages behavioral insights to alleviate the fear of privacy agreements and to bridge the gap between intention and action. It is a consumer empowerment strategy. Our strategy is easy, attractive, social, and timely, or EASE for short. First, we've streamlined processes and provided a simple user-centric format. Second, the consistent design and the strong use of visual cues attracts attention and gives consumers the confidence to demand the products and services from businesses that better suit them. Third, our solution is social. By implementing a peer rating review system, we fix information asymmetries through market forces of supply and demand. Finally, it is timely. The solution is presented during a key moment when our behavior is on system 2 and we are more receptive. It is in this framework, the consumer data right is the tool to promote better social utility. Thank you very much, and we are now ready for your questions.
That was a good prediction that I was going to have. I do have a question. So if I understand correctly, what you're saying is that once I turn the switch on, I've already consented to all the financial providers to look at my data?
Actually, they're not looking at your data yet.
Okay.
So the way it works is all you're doing by default is we assume that you want to increase your utility as every one of us.
Yeah.
By switching the green light on, the switch on, all you're saying is I intend to find a better financial decision. Whichever financial decision you would like to have. Can be frequent flyer, can be saving some money. Now, through the intermediary, the third-party provider is the actual one that is agreeing to the term and condition of the intermediary. Therefore, we are actually turning the table here.
Yeah.
We are actually asking the third-party provider to look for the consumers and not vice versa, hence fixing procrastination.
Yeah. So I quite like the idea of flipping it around. So I thought that it was the case that when you switch it on, you're only showing intent. But then you have this thing in which once you show intent, you have people approaching you, right, with deals. And I'm wondering if you haven't provided your consent, then if somebody's approaching you, I do understand you have this norm around it,
Yeah.
right? Or who have how many reviews, how many have they helped, but they wouldn't have anything more to offer when they approach you.
So thank you for your question, actually. So we're actually giving the consumer a two-stage choice. The first choice will be, who do you want your data to be seen by? So, you know, we're all social animals, and we would like to have a choice of who actually see our data. So the initial prompt is, all of you wants to see our data, you are all approaching us through the app, and I can decide who is actually reading my data. The second step is, once I've decided who is my Uber driver, then you can offer to me what best suits me using the tool of the consumer data right.
Sure.
But yet my second choice still there is, I want to be able to choose what my best option is.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, guys.